Welcome back, fellow gamer. Today I want to talk to you about a Commander card that I started using 2 weekends ago, and I just fell in love with it as a Commander, and that is Grenzo Havoc Razor. Now, before we jump right into anything, I will let you know that the deck list that in its original iteration is down below. If you click on the link going to the whole deck list, you can watch that or look at that while you listen to me, or you don't have to. Just a suggestion in case you really want to dive deep, because I'm not going to be going through every single card. My goal here is I actually want to build a community deck with you. So I want to optimize this deck and make it something special. Something I'm going to keep, maybe bring to GPs or go playing Commander side events, and just use this as a community deck. I'll represent all of you. And I think Grenzo is a really fun general to do that with. So a bit of backstory. As I mentioned, this deck got built about 2 weeks ago. I was on my way to Montreal to go play with Jeremy and Dave, and I was trying to build a Shadow Gang Brothers deck. It wasn't going well. Every time I go to build a Shadow Gang Brothers deck, I realize I just don't have the cards to make it good. So I just, I try, and then something else catches my eye, and I push the Shadow Gang Brothers to the side as I make another deck. And in this case, as soon as I got to my red cards, seeing what I would want to throw in, I saw Grenzo, and I'm like, this might be a good idea. And it was. I ended up finishing the weekend like 10-3 or 9-3, something like that. It was actually a really good showing. I was surprised at how strong Grenzo is, particularly his second ability in the right build. Now, if we look at the cards that are in there together, there are a lot of good cards that are missing that should be in there. So I should be running a lot of token creators that you can attack with a bunch of either 1/1s or whatnot, and just make it so that you get to play a lot of cards off of your opponent's libraries, or you just, at worst case, have him exile a bunch of stuff. In one of my games, I did have the opponent end up exiling his whole library, so he was gone from that while I swung in with a bunch of other stuff with somebody else. I haven't used his goat ability once. So I don't know if I'm missing an opportunity there, but I like to play these fun types of things where I play other people's cards. Pisses people off, so why not play that? One of the things I noticed, there are 3 cards in particular that I will be taking out. One of them is the Kazul Toll Collector. So I do have a few weapons that I thought maybe would be a good idea to just have them attach them for 0. Not really. I honestly, every time I got them in my hand, I was like, meh. Another one was actually Invasion Plans. So while I thought it was cool to be able to, have everybody stack onto one defender and then just attack with the rest, usually I had better things to spend my mana on. And even at that, I didn't want him or her, whoever I was playing with, to control my defense, even though most of the time I was tapped out. Having things attack or block whenever able makes it a bit tough. The other one that I don't really have use for is the Resonator. Well, can I get this? There we go. I actually not a big fan of. I love the card. I'm a big fan of that card. I usually put in a lot of my Commander decks. This one, it never served a purpose. Maybe it was just the cards that I was pulling from the top of other people's libraries, but I know that in my list, didn't have much use for it because I was usually tapping out when I would want to need it. When I would need it or want to use it. Want to need it. I think that might be a new catchphrase for me. The rest of the deck I liked. Every time I pulled a card off the top of my library, I was pretty satisfied with the results. Having some of them, like, the Sword of the Animus, you might be like, oh, that's kind of slows things down. But I want to try to get as much land as possible out from my library onto the battlefield. So 2-pronged, so I can thin out my library, but also make sure I have enough mana to cast spells I'll be, potentially having access to. Now, this deck does rely on you actually getting good cards from your opponent. Not gonna sugarcoat that. You need to get you need to get lucky, but more than that, you need to get you have to avoid getting unlucky is what I'm trying to say. Looking at the deck list, I do see areas like certain key cards that I might be overlooking or not included, and other ones that you might say, why is that in there? To be honest, the deck was built really, it's me going through my binder and pulling out cards that I like. I don't really strategize much more than that unless I'm building a deck tech or I'm refining an existing deck. In this case, it always starts out like this. I grab a bunch of cards and I see what happens. It's the way I like building decks. I like to build a crappy deck to begin with and then refine it over time. But with this one, again, I would love to know what you think of the deck. I don't think I don't think there'll be glowing reviews of this deck. If you want to play it, try it. I had a lot of fun playing it. Win or lose, I had a blast playing this deck. But I know that it can be optimized more, and I want to make this a community deck. So please feel free to let me know what suggestions you have in the comments below. And if you'd like to check out any other of my videos, you can do that right there. And if you'd like to subscribe, which is greatly appreciated, you can do that right there. And it helps the channel out, but it lets you know when we upload new content. I'd like to thank you for making me a part of your day. And until next time, good gaming.